Hey gamers, welcome to the Part-Time Gamers Club, where we game part-time, but support gaming all the time. For those of you tuning back in, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the crew. I'm Gio, alongside me is Gerard. And for today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Borderlands film. Let's get to it.
So, in recent news, if you guys have been living under a rock, there's been more and more video game adaptations done to movies. The recent adaptation being Borderlands. Now, before the movie came out, I was actually going to go watch it. I had high expectations. Well, I don't have high expectations at all. I had a high want and hype. I was like, oh, I love Borderlands. I love Borderlands 1. And I see Lilith, which was the character I played majority of the time in Borderlands 1, in there. I was like, all right, I'll go. Kate Blanchett, Oscar winner, two-time Oscar winner. Not Grammy winner. I'm stupid. But yeah, so I was like, maybe I'll watch it on my own time. Maybe not anymore. So with the recent reviews coming out for the movie, it has been staggeringly low and bombed. Gio, what are your opinions of like the bad reviews and the funniest things you've seen so far about the movie?
Just honestly, let me put it this way: the reviews are terrible. Don't get me wrong, and I never seen a movie open up with a 0%, especially like a big marketed movie like Borderlands opening up with 0% on Rotten Tomatoes reviews. Granted, I was only like with 10 top critics at that time, but still, it's only at 9% currently, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get much better. 50% for fans, which that's only out of 250 certified reviews or verified reviews, how I would put it. It's just not looking good. And honestly, as a Borderlands fan, it's really depressing to me because it's like I felt Borderlands was the kind of video game that you could make a really good movie adaptation out of. And to see it bombing the way it is, it's kind of depressing because you kind of hesitate, or if it makes you wonder if like film companies are going to start to hesitate again with doing video game adaptations because of disasters like this.
I mean, I feel like they've always been hesitating. We've see the occasional like video game movie bomb. Like only very recently have video game movies been getting more successful. A good example is like the Sonic movies or the Super Mario movie. Those have been more successful, but there are still like movies like the new Mortal Kombat reboot or like in case in point Borderlands. There are just some video game adaptations that are still not doing well, and it's multiple things. And from the reviews I've seen for this, it is once again multiple things. It is apparently from the majority of reviews I read, bad writing, bad direction, bad art style, bad directing, and bad casting.
It's just a bad movie.
Yes, and people are like, "This isn't just a bad Borderlands movie. This is just a bad movie altogether." Like, and I think that's like the case in point with movies for video games. Like, you are not making a movie just for the video gamers. You are making a movie for moviegoers that should also pay homage or reference the game so that video game watchers can also enjoy it. So when you make a bad movie altogether, not having anything to do with the story, so you make a, in my opinion, non-canon version of the game, the movie is just non-canon, it's gonna not do well with video game fans. And then if you make it a bad movie on top of that, you just screwed over 100% of your audience.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, so, like, I remember I think I was watching one of the YouTube videos, or I was watching some commentary, and they brought up a good point. Like, if you're going to do a video game adaptation, the one fan base you have to cater to is the players of the game. So, like you said, you didn't even make the movie canon. Why would you steer away from the storyline of the game if that's going to be your
It
core audience? Is the game players? It's not going to be moviegoers. Moviegoers will go see it if fans say, "Oh, bro, you got to watch this movie. This is a game I play, but it's an awesome movie at the same time." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And
like, for them to do that is, and I know it's pretty bad or really bad amongst the fan base because preview night Thursday, it only did 1.2 million. Opening day, 4 million. That's what the numbers are showing right now. It might adjust a little bit, give or take. We'll get the final numbers tomorrow on Monday. But for those numbers, that's not even like, that shows me the player base wasn't even hyped to go see it.
yeah, so the amount of people that went to watch it probably plummeted after everyone's like, "Don't watch this movie. It's a waste of your time." Because like there have been questions about the movie from the beginning, from the get go, because and the video game players could tell you, like, Kevin Hart as Roland was already a weird casting option because Roland is supposed to be a brolic, tall soldier, and Kevin Hart gives none of those vibes. None of those vibes. Now, is his acting good? Maybe. Maybe he acts well. But you still have a very physical appearance that you're going to need to maintain to keep me immersed that this man is a soldier. And I don't think Kevin Hart, unless they CGI him, can give off that representation.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember Roland being comedic by any means either.
Uh, I mean, he does. He has dry humor in the game.
Yeah, yeah, but he doesn't have that goofy humor. Kevin Hart's more of a goofy comedian. He plays that
Yes,
goofy kind of fun
I don't.
personality.
I won't say Kevin Hart is goofy. I would say that Kevin Hart is very good at doing over exaggerations.
Yeah, correct,
So,
correct.
and Roland from like Borderlands 1 specifically, Roland
Mm-hmm,
was very cut, straight,
mm-hmm.
dry, uh, very blunt in what he's saying. Like if he's telling you something, he's going to tell you in one sentence or less.
Yeah,
um, so Roland being cast as Kevin Hart was already questionable, but then like we have Tiny Tina, which and the reason why Tiny Tina is in there because she's a beloved. She's a beloved character, but she does not show up in Borderlands 1, where Roland and Lilith come from. Both of those characters are also Borderlands 2, but not playable. They're NPCs. But then we have Krieg, who's a psycho. Literally, that's what they're called, psychos. No.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have to put some context. That's also not a playable character, but funny enough, one of another fan favorites. It just feels like, all right, we're gonna take Borderlands, but we're only gonna take characters. What's the top 5 most favorite characters from Borderlands? All right, we're gonna grab them. Now let's look at what the world is. All right, we don't care about the story at all. Look, there's a vault. We're just gonna make a plot point with these 5 characters trying to get to this vault. All right, writers, go. And the writers have never played the game at all.
That's
They have,
basically what it was.
they haven't played the game. They don't know the world. They don't know Jack. Literally, they don't know Jack from Borderlands 2. They don't know anything. So you're telling people to make a good story with 5 characters who some of them have not been cast greatly, and then tell them it's gotta be good. So I feel like the writers may have been like standing up against the wall, just like, all right, I've never played this video game, but this movie I'm making about is a video game. But because we don't want to do the same story, I have to use their universe to make up a new story, but also it has to be good. And that's kind of hard when the reason Pandora exists is to tell the story the game was doing.
Well,
So
that's
when you
exactly
break
what I
that
was saying.
storyline, the world doesn't make sense anymore. So you have to rewrite the world, and then now the characters don't make any sense.
But and then you're not catering to the fan base that
Yes.
is going to bring you the money, because if you get the player base to at least go see the movie, you're still going to make good money. And then, like I said, if it's a good actual adaptation and it's a good movie, then, people that aren't necessarily fans of the game or never played the game will still go see it. And then maybe that will draw people to go try the game. But now it's not even a good representation of the game. So it's not going to bring any money to Gearbox. If anything, it's just going to be like,
I think Take Two bought Gearbox as heads up.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it's 2K anyway. But at the same time, I'm just like, why? And that's what bothers me with game companies these days doing that, or not game companies, film companies. I was starting to have faith that they were getting away from doing that, just using, like you said, they're using the characters, trying to use the world in a sense, and make it their own, right? Just to, I'm going to call it what it is, a money grab. It really is. I thought they were getting away from that because we started to get some good adaptations. The Super Mario, the Sonic. We got the Last of Us, the show. You got
And that one was faithful to the story.
correct. And then oh man, what's the other one that I recently watched, bro?
You're talking about the Fallout?
Yes, Fallout. Fallout was good too. Now, I'm sure there's some people that's still skeptical. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was
Well,
still really
he,
highly reviewed.
here's the thing about everything you named so far. If it wasn't 1-to-1 with the story, it was still in the world where it's like, all right, we're not using characters from that world
Hmm.
because we would have to break them or like make them radically different than they are in the game. So we're gonna make new characters. Like in Fallout is a good example. It's like we have a new vault. We have 3 new vaults to be technically speaking. And then we're gonna be like, all right, here's some new characters. We give them the story. They're in the same universe, but they're tackling their own problems.
Hmm.
In here, not only do you take a beloved character from a game, but you butcher their character, either the way they're portrayed, or worse, in the case of Kate Blanchett, break complete immersion and make them like Lilith is supposed to be young in
Yeah,
Borderlands.
yeah, she's like a 20-year-old, 25-year-old.
And you're like, why is that important? I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe because, the reason why she's a siren is because she's going to die very soon because her power makes her witch like and she's very strong. But like it doesn't make sense for an older woman to be a siren because sirens don't live that long. So it world-wise doesn't make any sense. Casting-wise, horrible. Actually, you know what? Let me backtrack one quick second. I have yet to watch the movie, but during trailer views, I actually enjoy Jack Black as Claptrap.
I think that
Uh,
was the only one that did great.
the only one that's not shown on camera is the only one that was fine. Uh, and I would
I
like
didn't
to
think
say
of it that way.
Tiny Tina looks fine, but from the lines I've heard, kind of not what Tiny Tina is supposed to be. But I've yet to see the movie, so I don't know like the whole thing. But like from what I've heard from reviews, not well received either.
Oh yeah, the reviews kind of stated that. Well, I mean, it's all there. There, like literally, you put out a shit product, this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying this is. I don't want to say this is part of the woke movement by any means, but It is just, it's got elements of it, and it's just like, if you guys don't listen to your audience, this is what's going to continue to happen.
I
This
don't even
is,
know what woke elements were added.
huh?
I don't even know what woke elements you're talking about
No, no,
in
no.
this in regards to this one specifically.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like, all right, but like, if you think about it, like we said with Lilith, like, why didn't they get someone that fit more of Lilith? Why didn't
Because they weren't
even
even
Tannis?
writing Lilith.
Yeah, and Tannis. What is it?
To be
Jamie Lee
fair,
Curtis?
Doctor Tennis is not even like a playable character, nor is she a highly regarded character. Like I don't see a lot of people talking about Tannis from Borderlands 1 unless they're
Hmm.
like, this is the story, because Tannis is like the majority, like the
Hmm.
exposition dumper.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I'll tell you everything you need to know about Pandora. But
yeah, yeah.
like, was it necessary to have a Dr. Tannis character in this game or in the movie? Probably not, because movies are good at one thing: giving exposition.
Mm.
Video games are notoriously bad for giving exposition because it's boring. You know why? Because video games are designed to be either actively
Mhm.
or passively enthralling you, and exposition is the most boring goddamn thing you can do.
Yeah. It, I just, the way they do it, man, and the way this is the formula that doesn't work. If you go back to focusing on the fan base that created the game's success, then you'll have a successful show or movie. But if you don't focus on that fan base, this is what's going to happen. And it's disappointing that for it to happen with such a big title like Borderland, because there's so much potential that they can do with Borderlands, either in a TV show series or a film adaptation. And I feel like they really dropped the ball on this one. And it's like, damn, out of all the games you should have got right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and something I forgot to mention: the movie's PG-13. Why? Why is this movie PG-13?
For real?
Yes,
The game's not even PG.
exactly.
14.
Like, are you? I what? Why? Why? This is one of those This is like one of those games. It's like it should have been R, because honestly, the theme requires it to be R. Like
It's
that's the
mature.
point. It makes no sense to me. Some shortcuts are fine. Like
Yeah.
shortcuts are like, oh, we can have this character die off screen because telling that story for that character is too much. But when you go, oh, the world full of entirely crazy people, criminals, and bounty hunters
Yeah.
is not that gory? Are you kidding me?
Bro, that game was about blowing heads off and body limbs just flying everywhere.
Yes, and you can run into people, and people cursed all the time in the game. Like, it makes no sense to me. They said the F word at least 5 times in the first 5 minutes of the video game.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you can only get one in PG-13.
Like, just think of the name Claptrap.
That's true. That is also true. There's sexual innuendos in the game.
Throughout the entire game.
Yes, it makes no sense. To me.
Uh,
That movie,
it
makes
was meant
no
for
sense to me.
disaster. It's just
it was yes. Like, I honestly think somebody somewhere did not want this to succeed.
Exactly. And it's not. They succeeded in
Yes.
making sure it didn't succeed, because it's not. It's not going to. It'll probably be out of theaters in another 2 weeks.
It's one of those old straight to DVD movies. Yes. Because man, like, and the problem is that it has potential, because
Mhm.
Borderlands is a very thematic and cinematic game.
Correct.
Because like the story elements simple. And I'm about to tell you the entire story of Borderlands 1 in 2 sentences, all right? Characters go on planet. Characters realize treasure is not what it is. There you go. That's the entire story of Borderlands, all right? You have a single world that has treasure on it, and you find out the treasure is not
Not
really
what,
treasure.
yeah,
There you
it's
go.
not what you thought it was.
Not what he thought it was, all right? This is an age-old time. Pirates, Goonies, a whole bunch of other movies have done something similar to this. How do you not? You should know this. This is like filmmaking 101.
Literally.
Like, if you made a bad Borderlands movie, that's fine. The fact that you made a bad movie is honestly baffling.
That just wasn't good direction. Wasn't a good director. Wasn't good.
No good
writers.
writing, no good direction.
Like,
Not like Lilith. Like, I'm not even going to even keep going with casting because that's a dead horse. I'm gonna go with a little bit one more thing that honestly surprised me. So, the chronological events of the game pay no mind in the movie, okay? Because it doesn't make sense that Lilith and Tiny Tina are pairing up because Tiny Tina is in Borderlands 2 and Lilith's in Borderlands 1 and the age gap being there, blah, 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 whatever. There's a whole bunch of mechanics that have to play out for Lilith to not be who she is in the movie. And that required them, from what I read, to not make her a siren, aka a witch, aka she doesn't have powers in like the majority of the movie. And I go like, that makes no sense to me because the character's motivation and personality was behind those powers. The reason the way she is because of what she can do. Same thing with Roland, but Roland is a different like beast. Like Roland is like, if we take Kevin Hart out of it, Roland is a vanilla character that can be played a very specific way. You just need to make sure that you continue with it. And I'm pretty sure Kevin Hart can do that, like acting wise, because he's an actor. Actors can do that. But when you are supposed to be a soldier and you're the same height as a child, can look weird when Tiny Tina is like 2 feet or like a foot below you, man.
Not even a foot, few inches.
Yeah.
Bro, he's the same size. He's the same size as the turrets Roland would drop down.
And I love Tiny Tina. Like Tiny Tina has been like they made spin-off games about her and everything like that. But Tiny Tina is supposed to be like a psycho. Like literally, she's psychotic because everyone on Pandora is psychotic.
Correct.
So,
but
like you have a character who's like fascinated with exploding things and being like doing whatever they want. But that's because the character of Tiny Tina is not like a savior or a direct like manipulation or like has any character connections in Borderlands 2. In Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina is the way she is because she's psychotic and smart as hell that she can make a whole bunch of like toys and technologies and traps and everything like that. So when you have like a cast that's just like, we're going to be having Tiny Tina with us, I was like, Tiny Tina has been an isolated character majority of the time and a solo. So when she's pairing up with people, it looks weird because Tiny Tina is like, I don't trust no one. I'd rather just kill all of you.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, there's a lot wrong with it, man. Like you said, though, earlier, I think that was the best way to phrase it. There was somebody out there that just didn't want this movie to be successful, or a group of people, and they made sure it wasn't, because it ain't. It isn't, and it ain't going to be. And at this point, I think I'll watch it eventually. I definitely don't want to watch it in theaters. I really don't want to pay the money.
Oh, no, I'm not.
I do want to see how bad it is. I do want to see how bad it is.
I'm going to watch it. I'm not going to pay money for it. If somebody is like, hey, let's go watch a Borderland movie, I was like, are you paying? If you are paying, I'll go watch it. Because I know I want to watch it, but I'm not at this point, I'm not watching it because I think, oh, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to watch it to see how much they butchered my boy. All right?
Yeah. how bad I'm gonna want that time back that I
Yes.
spent watching that movie. So, but yeah, man, it's disappointing. I bet a lot of hardcore Borderlands fans, we're fans of it, but we're not, I would say,
It's
by
good.
any means
I
hardcore
haven't
fans.
I haven't played the Tiny Tina
Mhm.
spin-offs, nor
I
have
heard it's
I
really good.
played the Tales
Hmm.
episodes of
Yeah,
Borderlands.
no,
I heard they're
I
pretty
didn't
good
play
though.
that.
Uh,
Last one I played was 3. I didn't even unfortunately finish 3, but
I did
it
not
was
finish
fun.
it yet.
I liked it though. I don't know why I stopped playing, but I just did.
I would
But
go
yeah,
as far as to say, as Borderlands is the original looter shooter.
yeah, oh yeah.
So
1 and 2 are classics, absolute classics. But like I said, they missed a big opportunity. Hopefully, somebody else gets the rights to Borderlands and
it's not
there's a
anytime soon.
reboot.
Not
Yeah, yeah.
anytime
It won't be till like 2030, but
soon. I don't even think that's soon. I
yeah,
think
but
I think they drop there's so many other games you can make video games
mm.
adaptations on. So instead of trying to rebuild reputation, you could just pick another game. So
Or maybe if they do a TV series adaptation, that'd be a good route.
only if they stick with the story.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Please, it's got to be somebody that's willing to do justice by it.
At least stay thematic. Like if you don't want to stick to the story in
Mhm.
Borderlands, don't use the fucking characters from Borderlands. There are
Make
many
your own goddamn
potential.
movie.
Yeah, there's many beloved characters that
Mhm.
are not playable that you can fool around with.
That's true.
Like Moxie is I'm gonna say it. Many men's awakening series. Moxie was like, "Oh, this like the art style in this game is crazy dumb and stupid, but she can get it."
Yeah. But
And like it's funny how like the choices like directors and publishers make with zero regard of the world they're taking stuff in is the exact same way they do to books, and they just don't learn their lesson. Like I
mhm.
understand holding like, oh, we want to create a freedom, we want to make a story about like what we want, and I go like, all right, you can just make sure you don't butcher characters. What's a
Well,
If you're going to rewrite something, don't use characters that are already written,
it's not even
because
only
it's like
that. It's
converging.
We understand sometimes they do take some creative freedom in the movies, but as long as you're still focused on creating those or taking those creative freedoms to complement the lore of the game in a sense, if it still fits and makes some kind of sense with the lore, then fine, we ain't got no problem with it. But when you just completely doing it to just completely rewrite the story, rewrite the characters,
Rewrite
rewrite,
characters,
yeah,
rewrite
it
stories.
makes no sense. It kills the whole vibe.
Yeah.
And you're right. I didn't even think about that because they do that to a lot of books. Because I know a lot of book fans of movie adaptations
Yeah,
that very
they never
disappointed.
learn. They never learn. All right.
But
I mean, do you have any final thoughts, Gio?
yeah, I'm sad that they did this to Borderlands. That's my final thoughts because I liked Borderlands and I really feel like they really do.
Yeah. Well, gamers, let us down in the comments below on your opinions. Uh, if you've seen Borderlands, give us a score on on your review of the game as
Yeah.
both a Borderlands game movie and as a movie. And if it's lower than 0, make sure you post the review as well on Rotten Tomatoes so other people can know. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.